Now let's see if this carcass can qualify for the Certified Angus Beef brand. First and foremost, we need to make sure that it's predominantly black-hided, and we'll look for this A stamp that's right there. Now we're going to evaluate this carcass for our 10 specifications. At a packing plant, a USDA grader, or if we're in Canada, a CBGA grader is going to evaluate this carcass for our 10 specifications. The first specification that we're going to evaluate is marbling. That's looked at right here between the 12th and 13th rib. Marbling are those fine flecks of fat found throughout that ribeye, and it's representative of the entire carcass. Now that marbling is truly important to give you that tenderness, juiciness, and flavor that you look for when you're eating beef. We require at Certified Angus Beef that you must have modest amount of marbling or higher. Now that's the #1 reason that Angus type cattle get kicked out of our program. It's really important. On top of that, we have a second specification that requires it to be medium to fine textured, giving you that juiciness, that flavor and tenderness in every single bite of beef, regardless of where it's at on the carcass. And for additional tenderness, we have a third specification, requiring that the carcass has a physiological maturity of 9 to 30 months of age. This is giving us the benefit of that bright cherry red colored lean and that tenderness that you look for. Now our next 3 specifications focus on consistency. The first one we're going to look at is that ribeye area. We want to make sure that the ribeye is between 10 and 16 square inches. This makes it easier for that chef to hit that degree of doneness and gives him more consistency in his plating experience. On top of that, we want to look at this back fat thickness. So we're going to measure that back fat thickness right here to make sure that it's 1 inch or less. This allows us to have better yielding products and less waste. Finally, we want to look at our hot carcass weight. We require that that hot carcass weight be 1,050 pounds or less. A hot carcass weight is the weight of the carcass before it's been chilled. That ribeye sizing really gives us consistency in our middle meats, but that hot carcass weight gives us our consistency in our end meats. And if that wasn't enough, we have 4 more specifications that amplify the quality, appearance, and tenderness of the product. Our next spec is superior muscling. This spec keeps emphasis on beef type cattle and limits dairy influence. It gives us that bulge that we were looking for in the ribeye. We want some of that beefy robustness in the round, limiting your angular looking steaks. Our next specification is no neck hump exceeding 2 inches. We look down here for that measurement. The larger the neck hump, the tougher the meat, because the larger neck hump relates to your Bos Indicus type cattle. So we draw an imaginary line down here, and as long as it is less than 2 inches, we know we're good to go. For optimum color, we also don't want to allow any dark colors in the program. This typically is caused by environmental stress that just causes an imbalance in the pH within the meat, making it turn dark in color. Completely safe to eat, however, it can have a slight off flavor and it's simply unappealing. And finally, we're going to look to that ribeye to make sure that it's practically free of capillary ruptures. Although rare in industry, this is something that can occur during the harvest process. It's completely safe to eat. However, we don't want to have any of these imperfections in the Certified Angus Beef brand. And that's our 10 science-based specifications. You do not need to memorize these, but know the benefits of each specification. Check out our sales tool app for more great resources.